Going on, fight fans? I'm taking a look at the Luis Ortiz versus Tony Thompson bout. It's going down this weekend, March the 5th in DC. Now, I guess I'll do a quick look and a prediction because I probably won't have time on Saturday. So this is the way I look at it. Quick look at him. Ortiz, the real King Kong, 24-0, 21 KOs. That's an 81 KO percentage. Tony Thompson, 40-6 with 27 KOs, and that puts his KO percentage at 59, I believe. As far as looking at him too, the heights, similar heights. King Kong 6'4", Thompson 6'5". Their reach, actually a little interesting. Ortiz, the shorter guy by an inch, he has a 3-inch reach advantage. He's sitting at 84 reach advantage for him. Thompson has an 81-inch reach, but they're both southpaw. And they're both getting up there in age, except King Kong is 36, old by boxing standards, and Thompson is 44, so he's up there getting to Bernard Hopkins' age. Still fighting though, but not the same Tony the Tiger that once was. Now looking at their opponents, not much to say. This is another case of a guy has fought in everyone, taken losses, gotten wins, upset some people, but he's getting up there in age, and that's Thompson. He's fought against the likes of Malik Scott in his last fight, but he lost. He fought Adliander Solis in Turkey, but won that fight. And I used to think Solis was one of the best heavyweight prospects years back before that disaster and versus Klitschko where his knee went out, and I thought he was outboxing him that first round, and of course that's when he got injured. But Solis never transformed to become the star that I thought he was going to be. So he's been in obscurity, fighting in Turkey, I guess because of Turkish promoters. So he had 2 fights with Thompson. Thompson won both of them. Thompson went on to fight, before that, he fought Carlos Takam, the guy that, who'd he fight? He got knocked out by the Russian, Alexander Povetkin. That's his, Povetkin's last fight, I believe, when he knocked Carlos Takam out. Thompson also fought Kuprat Pulev. He lost that one as well. But he has knocked out David Price, and that's when David Price was on his hot streak. Actually, he knocked him out twice, but that's when people thought he was the next coming, the next British heavyweight champion. But in defense of David, he really didn't have the opposition, so I don't know, and the best jaw. So I think that was a combination of Thompson just got lucky to get a opponent that wasn't tested and didn't have a chin to begin with. Thompson also fought Vladimir Klitschko. He lost that one by KO. Lost him twice. Same thing. The first time they fought, a little bit competitive, but still clear win for Vladimir. And that's when Vladimir was still the king, holding the heavyweight division belts before looking old against Tyson Fury. As for Luis Ortiz, the King Kong, the real King Kong, other than Brian Jennings, I don't think he's really fighting anyone. He's fighting random guys that I've never heard of, other than BY, which he did knock out in the 7th round and did look impressive. He only has a fight against the likes of Monty Barrett, and Latif Coyote, which was, I think, turned to a no decision because Ortiz ended up coming up dirty for steroids on that bout. So that's no decision. And so we really have Monty Berry and B.Y. Jennings to look at. I think Ortiz looked good, but he also looked bad in the way that Jennings, a smaller guy, a weaker guy, not saying like BY is a weakling, but weaker as, a little bit smaller, not as big, not as hard of a hitter. He was able to work his way in and frustrate him on the inside, and not saying that that's going to translate into the Thompson fight, but Thompson, he is old, so he does like to hit you a couple times and grab you because he's trying to grab his breath back, and he'll put his that big old 6'5" frame on you, and he'll put his weight on you. So with Ortiz, when BY was able to get in there, land his shots, clinch when he had to smother, keep the counter punches coming back from Ortiz. I think that's something Thompson can do. But just looking at Thompson, for me, I think he's a guy that we don't know who's going to show up. I thought he had a really good shot at beating Malik, and he let that one go. Yeah, he knocked him down, but it was just that one shot, that one round. He's 44 years old, not much two more you can expect. I saw an interview with Tony a couple months back, and he was saying going into the Malik fight that he doesn't even know what the future presents. He's like, I'm just here. I know what my body has today, and who knows what it's going to be like, during the fight. That's what I'm going to find out. And, he was being real honest about it. Just talking to the reporter, just straight up telling him, like, yeah, I don't know. I'm 44 years old. I know that I'm old and I feel it, but I still feel I can fight. So, interesting thing to look at. A guy knows he's old, obviously, but he's feeling it too. And he himself isn't, so gun-ho and confident, 100% that, yeah, I got this. Even though I'm old, that doesn't play any part into it. Something so matter-of-fact like a Bernard Hopkins. He's like, yeah, I'm old, but I can still do it, and I'm confident I can do it. And he tries. He got shut out by Crusher, but he still tries. And I think that's something that Thompson really, like I said, I really don't know who's going to show up. I thought he was going to beat Pulev. He lost that. I thought he had a good shot at beating Takam. He lost that. I thought he was going to lose to Solis, and he won that. So I just don't know who's going to show up, Luis Ortiz, good power puncher, undefeated guy, come from Cuba, learned in the training camps as a child, I'm sure. Built up his pedigree that way. With all of these Cuban fighters, they're really skilled, technical. They know how to fight, and they're comfortable in the environment because they're like the Chinese that'll send their little kids to gymnast camps at an early age, and that's what they'll do. They'll live, breathe, and train. Same thing in Cuba. Two communist nations that send their young ones baseball camp or to a boxing camp, and that's what they do. They start from an early age in Cuba, and they just fight as many amateur bouts as they can get, and they learn the system, they learn the techniques and the fundamentals of the game, but they're trained for amateur bouts. And that's the one thing that I can look at all these Cubans, and what's the similarity? Okay, they're slick, and most of them counterpunch for the most part, but they also they're limited on what they do. They're great for 4 to 5 rounds, but then they slow down and they go into strictly counterpunching mode, or not enough of the action, even if they are being aggressive. So for me, that's one kind of handicap that Ortiz has. We haven't seen him being pushed. Jennings pushed him a little bit, but that was just the 7th round. This is scheduled for 12, and Ortiz hasn't gone 12. Thompson has, but he's old, so it's kind of flip of the coin. What are you going to favor, or what do you think is going to be the bigger handicap? A guy that's never gone 12, or a guy that's 44 and definitely showing his age, but has been 12 rounds before? Thompson, he can crack, but 40 fights, 27 KOs, which is really good, isn't as good as 24 fights for Ortiz with 21 KOs. You know, 81 percentage to 50% KO ratio. So if I had to pick a winner, if this was years ago, I'd probably go with Thompson. But since this isn't years ago, this is now, and Ortiz did handle his business versus Jennings. Thompson didn't handle his business versus Malik Scott. I'm gonna have to go for Ortiz. How it's gonna happen, not sure. Is it gonna end in a KO? I wouldn't be surprised. I think there's two scenarios that can happen. Thompson, I don't think he's gonna get clipped early, but if he does lose, he has a good chance of getting knocked out, and it's gonna happen a little bit later. Or we could see the upset of another undefeated rising star. And Thompson has the skill, the size, the weight. He's got some pop, the experience. He's a veteran of the game. If anything, he could try to drag Ortiz down into the later rounds, see what he has there. Put his weight on him, tire his legs out, hit him with some shots here and there, most likely. Just let Ortiz work and see if he can fade. Since they are going 12 rounds, this is a big guy. Thompson's a big guy. He can put his weight on Ortiz just like Ortiz can do it to other guys. So, I can really see Thompson getting the upset, but this isn't years ago, and like I mentioned, I don't know which Thompson's going to show up. His age is already there. His inactivities, being more prominent now. It's hard to go against the undefeated guy that's knocking everyone out, albeit a bunch of nobodies, unheard ofs, minus Monty Barrett and Bai Jennings, and a no contest to Latif Coyote. No comparison, I think. You can beat one guy, but that just could be that one guy. And if you're on steroids, yeah, that rightfully should be overturned, a no contest. Thompson, he's been proven, but he's also been beaten. So I guess, like I said, I got Ortiz winning the fight by KO. I think if he KOs Thompson, it'll be later. I don't think it'll be soon. I can definitely see Thompson making this an upset, but not really. So I got Ortiz by KO, or at least a decision, but we could see the upset. Tell me what y'all think. What's your take? Is this too soon of a step up for Luis Ortiz, or is Thompson past his day and done? Alright guys, I'm out.